How we doing, YouTube? Stevie here. I have no idea what just happened there. I was trying to get that goofy thing to work. It didn't want to work. It kept saying I didn't have access, and what a rigmarole. We got her going now, I guess. Good or bad? I don't know. You guys will probably maybe catch this later. Yeti, if you'd like to sponsor me, my Yeti cup. Anyway, yeah, so I did that little video earlier today talking about my breakdowns. I got those numbers all wrote down. Yeah, it's been a rough week for the old truck. I should probably put a hat on. It'll be all right. We don't really care. I don't think I'm not a slave to fashion, so it doesn't really matter. And you guys don't care what I look like anyway, so I guess it's even better yet. They so my the old Peterbilt has done really good all year, really, and it's only had some issues here right at the very end of the year. Otherwise, it's been pretty good. I didn't have any trouble with it for the first other than services and things like that. I really didn't have any trouble with it in the first 6 months. I got it in the last week of December, and I started running it. Well, I had all the plates and stickers and everything on it last year at the end, right there at the end of the year, and I was running my first load January 2nd. Actually, I think I left the first and went down there because I had some trouble with a trailer down getting unloaded or getting loaded on January 2nd. It was hard to find somebody to come fix it. Landing leg broke. Um, that was on Arca trailer, but yeah, so I really haven't had any trouble to then other than a service in there because it came service, so I only had to change oil once in between there about. Um, but then since then, so yeah, so what happened? I guess we started out with about a month ago. I had a water line break underneath the cab. Water line broke under the cab, little fitting broke, run all the antifreeze out on the ground, and that was down in Vincennes, and they fixed that for me down there at Vomac. That's at Mac. You can see that hat right there. It's a Mac hat I bought from them while I was down there. They did such a good job fixing my truck. I bought me a Mac hat, but I do like that hat. Um, that was 1130 to fix that, and I had to stay in a hotel overnight because they didn't quite get it buttoned up by the end of their shift, and they wanted to uh, pressure test it. They could have had it done probably, but they wanted to pressure test it, make sure everything was okay. So I said it's no big deal. It's that late in the day anyway. I was kind of had my steam out of me by then anyway. I wouldn't feel like driving anyhow. So yeah, so that was about 11 and then about that would have been about a month and a half ago, and then about 3 weeks ago, that's when I had the air leak problem that we couldn't quite get tracked down. And that was by the time that was all said and done, it was 4 airbags and leveling valve. I think that was the only parts to fix that. And I fixed a wheel sensor then. I had a wheel sensor that had went out, which when that goes out, it doesn't let your cruise work anymore, and cruise is a nice option, keeps you from getting so many speeding tickets. So, I'm looking at that paper, I got it wrote down right on next to the thing. So, for all the airbags and the leveling valve and that wheel sensor, that was about 1,040 in parts, and no, though I didn't split that off, but about 1,800 altogether, labor. My labor at my shop down here by my house, the one I try to go to, is, 115 an hour, so they're very reasonable. Um, and luckily, everything other than that water leak that broke on the side of the road, or had me on the side of the road, uh, that was, it's all been broken in my driveway. So, I've been able to go to my local shop, so that's all been really good because I don't have to, you never it's always bad when you're out on the road trying to fix something out on the road. Um, let's see, what else? About 750 in oil changes this year. This one I got today will probably it'll do me for the rest of the year. I won't need another one till January. If I stay at ARCA, I run about 2,500 a week, 2,700, let's say 25 as best as I've been. So that's 10 weeks. 10 weeks, January, November, January. Yeah, that gets us into January. No trouble at all. Into January, probably. So that'll be good. Won't have any more oil changes. Um, oh, I got steer tires. I had to get steer tires. That was a little, that was a weird one. I don't know that it should have needed steer tires. When I got it from Lone Mountain, I got my Lone Mountain t-shirt on. If you guys want to go look at a Lone Mountain truck, make sure you use my name. They'll give me a little splash. Um, they got a pretty good program. You get for everybody that uses you for a reference, you get $250. And then if you get five, five on the fifth one, they make a truck payment for you, whatever your truck payments are. Um, so that's kind of cool. If you're a Lone Mountain person or thinking about getting one from them, make sure you use my name um, or somebody else's name that's got in the truck there. I'm least somebody gets the thing. My dog. You wanna go outside? You look pitiful. You wanna go outside? I think she does. I better let her out. She's gonna bug us. You can't see if I got my sweatpants on. Yeah. I gotta do something a little better about this light. That light's kind of harsh, shouldn't I? I need to do something a little different about that one. That was weird. I don't know what it did. It did something. But um oh, the steers, yeah. So them steers was kind of weird. Um they wore the inside and outside edges. And oh, I said about Lone Mountain. When you get a truck from Lone Mountain, they have new drives on them, and my drives are look great, absolutely great. And I can't remember if they said they put new steers on them or not. And I don't have my Lone Mountain paperwork. Usually, it's in a drawer here somewhere. I don't think I got it. What did it even say on there? But may say in there. But they didn't wear very well. And yeah. And I got 570,000 miles on the old truck right now. And I put on it well, it's only about 75,000 that before it needed those steer tires. And so when I'm driving it, it's got just the littlest itty bitty of a pull to it. I don't know. It seems like I can't remember if Butch and Stewie, they got a Lone Mountain truck. If they had to put steers on theirs, I think they may have said they had to put steers on theirs. Don't hold me to that. I might not have that right. But I put new steers on them on it anyway. Well, regardless of whether I wanted to or not, I had to. and that was 1,700 for them. I put Michelin, Z-Line, X-Line, I can't remember what they are. They were 1,700 bucks for the 2 of them, though. And, the other ones, I was gonna keep the other ones for trailer tires, but they were those edges, I don't think they'd passed inspection. They were getting pretty curled, and they give me I think they give me I don't have that receipt in front of me. I think they give 150 bucks for them for cores. So I just do that, and I'll just buy trailer tires when I need them. And then, oh, and then this problem that I had this week was the which I kind of went through most of it before, but um, with the labor and everything was 30 this week. It was 1,400, and then the rest of that was all in parts. That actuator for the turbo was just shy of 1,700, and that depth sensor was 190, and oh, I bought some filters while I was there too for my oil change. I usually buy my own filters and take them in when I get my oil done. Usually I do oil at home, but I didn't today because I was gonna have to go buy the oil anyway. So I figured may as well just have them do it. And it wasn't that much. Like I said, I had the filters. What was that thing to fix that goofy thing? I went to the Boss shop at Lake Station there. I said I had well that's Peterbilt. And that's who works on the truck. Oh yeah. 347. That's what they charged me. 347. And I had that was for oh, I had to buy a fuel filter from them because I didn't have the one for the water separator. So that was 32 bucks. But otherwise, I already had the filters, and they only charged $40 labor for that. He worked on it for an hour. He said it'd take a little over an hour. I went and had lunch at the what do you call it? Denny's there at the Lake Station, and 259 for the oil. And he greased it and everything. He must give you a deal for that. I don't know. Um, so so that was that. And then I got it washed again. I got Rain-X on it today. That was how much was that? I don't even remember. Washed every other week. 62 bucks with the Rain-X. That was at the Blue Beacon at Portage. I like the one. There's two Blue Beacons there. I like the one at the Mr. Fuel better than the one at the Flying J. 52 for just the regular wash, and I don't get the engine done, and I don't get any brightener. And Rain-X. Rain-X was 960. That seems a little bit like a lot for Rain-X. I better buy a whole jug of it for 960 and splash it on it my dang self. 60 seems like a lot. 62.18 with the tax and everything. What is in my receipt bag for the year? I got to sort through all that. Sharpies probably all use computers. I do not yet. I need to do that. I only one truck though. I can keep track of it with paper without any trouble. Just my one truck, and I run the same thing almost every day, so it's not like I got a lot of weird stuff to try to keep track of. And since I'm still at ARCA, I don't have to worry about factoring or any of that stuff because I get paid every other week. Actually, I don't have to worry about very much anything other than making sure the truck's running and being on time, which I am very capable of doing both of those things. But yeah, so the whole thing, the whole truck for the whole year so far has been just about $9,200 is what it's cost me. That's maintenance. That's for everything. All the maintenances, all the that's new tires. There's one thing I still have to do. I have to do this, and I was looking for one today at the chrome shop there at Portage or at Lake Station, and that was, I got a cover that's all broke on my mirror, the backside there. I gotta get that fixed, um, 'cause it's getting to be bad weather, and it's been broke for 2 months. I mean, the mirror's still good, everything's fine on it, it still works, it wobbles around like it's supposed to, when you hit the button to make it move. It's just that and I was going down the highway and that stupid cover just blew clean off. Didn't hit it on anything or anything, just going right down the highway. It was really windy, but, yeah, it broke that thing clean off there, or blew clean off there. I seen it crack when it hit the road, so I figured no sense worrying about this anymore. I was gonna get one from Peterbilt, and they wanted, like, 600 bucks for that thing. I just needed the back cover, I didn't need the whole mirror, just the back cover, and then I told him it was blue, I was telling him what color blue it was, or I was gonna give him the VIN number, and he said, "It don't matter, they come gray, you gotta have them painted." Are you crazy? Jeez. Every once in a while. So I said, "I'll put chrome ones on there." I said, "I just seen them things on Amazon. I could buy both of them, chrome ones, off of Amazon for, like, 300 bucks." And he said, "Well, sometimes you get what you pay for." I said, "Yeah, maybe it does. I'll buy 2 of them. I can break them a lot." But what can you do about that? But, yeah, that ain't too bad. I mean, we're already to Thanksgiving, and I drove that thing all year long, and it's only been 9,000. And like I said part of that was steer tires, which I needed anyway. I mean, those just general maintenance kinda stuff and the oil changes and things like that. That's just stuff you gotta do. The problem, though, this is the problem, is that for just those little things, like, that's nothing really major. Well, that actuator's a little major, but not crazy major, not like you need a new clutch or something like that, knock on wood. Um, but that truck has been and like I said, I've had no trouble with it until actually just this last 2 months, if you wanna call it trouble. Um, "Hey, Shorts, how you doing today?" I don't think I'll be teaming with Big Oser, no, I don't think I will. Um, Nothing against him, I don't know Oser at all. I wouldn't know him if he walked in my house. So, I don't, I will probably not be running with Oser. Like I said, nothing against him, but I will not be. He seems to be having okay luck running, James's truck on his own. So, um the teaming didn't seem to work quite as well as they would have hoped, but, some things don't, so you just gotta kinda just try and see, and if it don't work, then you just move along. No sense beating a dead horse, so to speak. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. But, yeah, as I say, that's talking about a truck. The problem is, just for those few things that's been wrong with it, it's been down 10 days to get that stuff fixed. So, that's where you get into the big money, so to speak. I mean, it's all money, but they, my truck, if I run my Evansville loop, my, Markham, Illinois to Evansville, that grosses it fluctuates a little bit on what I bring back, but it's 850 to go south plus usually around 600 to come back. It's 1450 a day times 80%. So that's what I run. 1160. So it's about 1100 a day, give or take a smidge. Um, Sometimes the loads are a little bit less coming back, and I got around a little bit more miles to get them. But let's just say 1,000. Well, that's 10,000 just in lost revenue when that truck is down for unplanned maintenance. And like this week, It'd be different if I just take the week off and then just leave it somewhere and have them fix it. Then you wouldn't care anyway. I'll be off work anyhow. But this is when I've been running parts for it every day, and so I really couldn't like go do anything, and you really can't relax until you know your truck's fixed because you don't know how bad the problem's going to be. I mean, if it would have been that turbo, like I said in my other video, that'd have been 7 grand for that turbo. But uh, and I didn't explain that very good in that other video, I guess. Um, there's so the actuator said there's the turbo, and then on top of it, that actuator sets, and the actuator is connected to this little spool thing that turns like this, and that's what moves that those fins in and out, which adjust your boost. And it's that spool gets boogered up and it won't turn inside that turbo for some reason. I think they said it gets filled up with gunk and stuff like that. Oh, so it won't turn. And that's why you have the turbo's actually fine. It's that spool that gets messed up. But luckily, like I said, it was just the actuator. So that was only like I said, 1678 is what Peterbilt charged me. And I should have, I don't know why they didn't do it, but when the guys that I get to do my work for me, they called up and got a price for it. They said it was like 1375, and then when I went up got it, it was a little bit more. And I, for some reason, I don't know if they don't want to give me the discount, or because the other part, some of the other parts I got, I used their discount. My shop who fixes my truck, they got an account there, and I need to get an account there at Peterbilt. I don't have one. I get a discount then. But oh, anyway, so that's the deal on the truck. Yeah, it's those down days. That's the thing that gets you is the downtime. Downtime is expensive, very, very expensive. And it's not the parts that make it expensive. It's the fact that the truck's not making its revenue. That's the thing that makes it expensive. Not to mention you tend to spend more money when you're home than when you're not. At least I do. If I'm working, I don't spend very much money. If I'm home, I tend to spend a lot more money. I did get some stuff done around the house, but not a lot of stuff. A little bit. A little bit. Um, What we got? 10 more days, or what is it? Today's the 10th. We got next week, all of next week, and then part of the next week is all for Thanksgiving. For I was going to take Thanksgiving week off, but I won't now. So I was off all this last week. I'll work those 3 days, or at least a couple of them. And then I'm still working on my authority, getting that going. I did get, what did I get? I got something that it said that my FMCSA, that part is all done, but I have to, what is that? I don't know what that is. I don't know if I have it in here. I may have it. No, I have it. I got a bunch of other stuff over. I so I got the FMCSA's done, and that's activated. My insurance is activated. Kind of have to have that first, I think, anyway. Oh. And then because I reinstated my authority, I had to, I'm not starting a new one, I'm reinstating one. Well, my old one that I had 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I was due for my inspection. When the state police come, I don't know if every state does that or just Indiana, but when they DOT, I don't know if they come. They used to come to your house. I think they just do it on the phone now. I don't think they come to your house anymore. And then they want to, check all your stuff and make sure everything's okay, paperwork wise. So I got to get that done before I can do my IRP stuff for my plate, which I was 99% sure I was going to need to talk to him anyway the state police officer that does that. I have his name from last time. He's a very nice fellow, seemed like. He was very helpful, walking through what I needed to do last time, because I was gonna I did have interstate, I was gonna switch to intrastate because what I was gonna haul, I wasn't gonna have to leave Indiana. But then I ended up having truck trouble and everything blew up to pieces, so that's when I went back, uh, well, my truck catastrophically broke down, and so that's when I went to ARCA and ran as a company driver for about 5 months, and did, for you guys that don't know, ARCA is one of they're Ukrainian, they're not Russian, they're Ukrainian, but they're all the same. Don't say that to them, because they are not all the same to them, but on the south side of Chicago. I live in Northwest Indiana. I don't know if you guys all know where I live at, but that's where I live at. So south side Chicago is well, downtown Chicago from me is 2 hours. The Gary Yard, you guys that were out of Gary, um, I'm an hour and 15 minutes southeast of the Gary Yard in a semi. So you Schneider boys that have been in the Gary Yard, you kinda know where I'm at. Valparaiso, Highway 30 area, kinda in that neck of the woods, but, yeah, so, um, I called them it will be 3 years. I will have worked for them 3 years at Christmas time, um, because when my truck broke down and I wasn't able to get it repaired was on Thanksgiving of 3 years ago. So it's bad juju that this truck's breaking down the right at Thanksgiving time where my other truck did. But, but anyway, so then I drove for ARCA for 6 not quite 6 months, 5 months as a company driver, and then I drove I leased a truck from them, not leased purchase, just leased. Um, I'm not sure if they were doing some lease purchases then, but I wanted to see if it was gonna work or not. So I did. That's what I did, and then I was gonna do that for 6 months, and then I was gonna buy that truck, and I ended up in that process, that truck had some issues. It was a Volvo, a white Volvo, if you've seen ARCA trucks, those white Volvos. Um, it was a good truck, I liked it. It has quite a few miles on it. Not, I mean, quite a few. It had like 400, and it was going to have. It needed. What did it need? Something that was going to take the radiator out for. Oh, it was the brackets and everything. I think that's what it was. It was the brackets for the radiator. The radiator wasn't bad, but it was something with the brackets around it. I think is what it was. That's been a couple years ago. I didn't have to pay for that, of course, because that was. I paid for that in my. That was part of the lease. There was a 12 cents a mile, I think is what the maintenance was on that truck. But the payment on that truck was altogether with the mileage and everything, it was usually around 1,300 a week, 13, 1,400 a week, depending on how many miles I ran, which is a lot, truck payment wise. But that's when those rates were crazy good. So I was still doing real well, even with that big truck payment. And then, oh, so then that truck was broke. Gonna be broke. It's gonna be down for 4 or 5 days, 3 days. So the guy that took care of all the equipment said, "I'll just put you in another truck." I said, "Okay, I guess that'll work." And he had a new the only thing he had was a brand new Volvo, 2022, couple 100 miles, 100 miles, whatever it took him to drive it from where they built it to Markham. And, he said, "That's I got that." It was that APU getting a new APU put on it, and, Well, obviously, they'd put a new APU on a new truck, but so that was he said, "If you go pick," he goes, "You wanna run pick it up for me? I'll get the stickers put on it, should be ready tomorrow with your day," something instead of being down for a whole week. That way I wasn't down for a whole week. And I said, "Good, okay, that'll work good." Well, I wasn't gonna do it because the payment was a tick more, and he said, the maintenance guy, he's a real nice guy, they're all Ukrainian, but he said, "Stevie, uh, I was trying to just justify if buying rent because I knew they wouldn't do a lease purchase on that new truck, and I didn't want till they would because they didn't do lease purchases on trucks until they had a few miles on them and they were gonna get rid of them. So they, he said, I was trying to do the math to figure out what to do, and he said, "Stevie, do you know how many days that White Volvo's gonna be down next year?" And I said, "No." He said, "I do. Take that new truck. It'll be more money at the end of the year." And he was right because that truck ran other than when I hit a deer with it, that truck ran the whole time. I didn't have any trouble with that. What was something little I had to have, I nothing, it was nothing major, something weird, some little something. But otherwise, it wasn't down for other than oil changes and things for the whole year. So that was good. And then at the end of last year, which would be about this time, a year ago, that's when I started looking for another truck because I wanted to get out of that lease because that lease was, like I said, about 1300, 1400 a week. And now those rates were starting to slip and the math was getting a little bit harder to make work. I mean, I was still making money, but it wasn't as good as it had been. So that's when I went to Lone Mountain. I found Lone Mountain, and they got a yard not far from the Markham yard where I'm at. And my Lone Mountain, 150-ish thousand miles, 430, something I don't remember what it had on. And I put it was 7,500 down, and it cut my payment in half. What it was, 1,500 times 4, 6,000. Yeah, more than half. Oh, so that's why I bought it. Well, the main reason, and then I'll own it. But already at 32, I'm just rambling on. I don't really much care. There's one person in here. I don't know who it is. Probably Shorts. Uh, Trying to see if I'm gonna say something weird so he can tape it. That's all right. I won't say anything weird. You'll be disappointed. But I might just ramble on for a couple hours. You never can tell. Sitting there talk to myself. Or they say I would just suit myself. But I was watching a little bit of YouTube. That's primarily all I watch. My TV's been broke for about a year, half a year. I don't even miss it. Not a bit. Just watch YouTube. I listen to YouTube and podcasts when I'm driving, but I don't even listen to the radio. But that's pretty much all the truck and rigmarole. Should be rolling everything good next week. Shouldn't be any trouble. Hopefully, no more trouble. I drove that truck all the way from from the shop to my house to Lake Station and got the oil changed and got it washed and brought it home and no lights, no issues. So hopefully we got that corner rounded. They, and then I did see, so that's kind of all the trucking thing. I'll give you an update next week. We'll see how everything's going. But I looked at that short. Will you team with those there? Man, those guys, they come up with some stuff, don't they? Um, I did watch a little bit of politics tonight. I was watching Megan, and she had on Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk runs Turning Point USA, does a lot of stuff with colleges and conservative things with colleges. Um, they were he was saying how next year could really be a mess because I kind of wrote it down what they were saying. So we'll have Trump will be the Republican nominee if everything stays the same, like it probably will, looking like. Um, which he's not my well, he wasn't my first choice in 16, but I'll vote for him if he's the nominee. And I wished he wasn't going to be the nominee, but he probably will be. I started off with Vivek. I like him a lot. Well, I'm still a Vivek guy, but he doesn't. I don't see his path. I just can't see. He's at 4% now. If DeSantis and Nikki both dropped out, and he was the last one standing, I still don't think he gets 50%. So I don't see his path. And to be honest with you, I don't really sure why he's standing right beyond, but I still like him, and so that's who my candidate was. But well, it still is, like I said, but I don't see how he has a path. And by the time he gets to Indiana, it'll be settled anyway. But anyhow, so then you'll have Biden, of course, on the Democrat side, unless they replace him, which they could do. They probably will do, but they haven't said they're going to do it yet. So we'll just assume that he's going to be the Democrats' candidate. Well, now you've got in again, and Jill Stein is a problem for Democrats. Jill Stein is the reason why Hillary Clinton is not president right now, because Jill Stein took enough, and she only took votes from Hillary. She didn't take them from Trump, the Green Party, but she took enough votes from Hillary in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin that Trump was able to win those states. And if Jill Stein would have been in there, Hillary would have won them states. Those states were close enough that that was the margin. And she's back in again. And the Democrats, they have a Muslim problem in Michigan and not so much in Wisconsin but in Minnesota. Because the Muslims are not happy with how strong Biden's been with Israel, which I'm glad he has been. I support Israel, but there's they're not happy. They're not happy at all. Take into account that on top of that, the black folks are not happy with Biden on social issues, especially the trans issue, especially black women really don't like the trans issue. Uh, th- th- they've got some issues. But this was the fascinating part that I found really interesting. And I didn't know anything about this. And I knew Cornel West was in, and he could get a few votes here or there. Like I said, it doesn't take a whole lot of votes to move this thing around. He would probably hurt the Democrats more than Trump. Stein will definitely hurt the Democrats more than Trump. But JFK's running as an independent, and he will probably hurt Trump more than the Democrats if he can keep quiet some of his social issues. If he can stick to uh, the vid issues, a lot of Republicans that don't like Trump may go towards him. He'll definitely draw more Republican votes than Democrat votes for sure. But this was, but this was the part that I thought was fascinating. Was Joe Manchin said this week that he's not running for reelection in West Virginia. So that's a pickup, a Senate seat, because he was the only Democrat that could win in West Virginia. The Republicans will get that Senate seat. But according to Charlie Kirk, he claimed that he said, "I have direct sources in the No Labels, the No Labels party, and they're out doing fundraising with big money donors, um, now, right now." And Manchin said what he was gonna do was he was gonna travel the country for a while and see if there was any interest in a centrist candidate. He's running. Basically what Charlie Kirk said is he is running, and he is gonna be on the No Labels, and it's common knowledge at this point. He hasn't said it publicly, but he is running as on the No Labels ticket. And who do you think is gonna be his running mate? Sickening. Mitt Romney. I supported that bum. We all do some dumb stuff every once in a while, and that was a dumb thing to do. Of course, he wasn't so bad when he was running for president as he is. uh, The signs were there, but I wasn't gonna vote for Barack, so I didn't have a lot of choice. But and what makes that so interesting is that I didn't realize this. There's a lot of Mormons in North Arizona, and Mitt Romney is extremely popular in Utah. They say his son might run for his Senate seat, so you could have Manchin win West Virginia. You could have that ticket win Arizona and Utah, possibly. Utah for sure, possibly Arizona, but they could steal enough votes that maybe the Democrats couldn't win it, and they need to win it to to get the presidency. Really, both parties do, but the Democrats really have to have it for their path. Uh, But what Kirk was saying, Charlie Kirk was saying, he said we might not have any candidate get the 270. That's how weird it could be. And if nobody gets to 270, you folks remember your political classes in high school. If nobody gets to 270, then the House picks the next president. And the way that works is if neither candidate, no candidates get 270, then it goes to the House of Representatives, and the House picks the next president. And the way they do it is there's 50 states, and every state gets one vote. So California would have one vote, Wyoming would have one vote. Well, would that not make the liberals crazy? Holy smokes. Now, this is what I don't know. I have to do a little research 'cause I don't know the answer to this. I don't know that is it the house that we have now, or is it the new house coming in the next year, 2024? Right now, Charlie Kirk said there if you broke it down by state, the Republicans have a two-state advantage in the House. So I don't know that I mean, so, like, even if you changed a few seats, I mean, theoretically, the Democrats could win back the House, but the Republicans could still hold more states. How you doing tonight? Hope all is well. I'm just yammering on here. I'm just about done, I think, but maybe not. You never can tell. But that would be interesting if, oh, it'd be chaos. Can you imagine if nobody gets to 270, and the Republican-controlled House picks the Republican candidate, it'd be wild, absolutely wild. And it could happen if Mitt Romney and Manchin, because Romney said he's not running either. Um, it could be really interesting how that shakes out because Romney could very well win that between Romney and Manchin. They could very well win Utah, and they could very well win Wyoming or West Virginia, and they would make it very, very interesting to see who, if they could pull enough votes in Arizona. I don't know who they'd pull them from though. That's the tricky part, but anyways, I suppose I can wrap this up. I wonder how this works. If I go to this dashboard, current viewers 221 views, chat rate. I was looking at my studio thing. I'm still learning how to do this live stream. Why that live stream didn't work right the first time I tried to do it. The kid just kept saying go live, going live, going live, and then it never did. But it worked right this time, so. What time is it? 8:48, just about bedtime anyway. Alrighty, I'll wrap her up for tonight, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'll do another one tomorrow. You never can tell. I might not do one for another month. You just never can tell. So hopefully there's no more truck trouble. If there's something interesting in the political world, maybe I'll come back on. We'll yammer on about that for a while. But all right, everybody. So if you watch this later, God bless. Well, God bless if you watch it right now. But if you watch this on the replay, I don't know that anybody's going to watch it for 47 minutes on the replay. But we're going to shut this thing down for now. So, all right, everybody. God bless. We'll talk again soon.